The first time I saw her, she was standing by the school gate, clutching the straps of her bag so tightly that her knuckles turned white. Her eyes darted around nervously like she was expecting someone, to jump out at her. She had on this plain gray sweater that looked a little too big for her and jeans that were slightly frayed at the bottom. Nothing about her screamed for attention. In fact, it seemed like she wanted to disappear. Her name was Ariba, a transfer student, quiet, awkward, almost invisible, but not to them, to the ones who feed on weakness like wolves to an injured deer. At first, it was just the whispers. You know, who is she, why does she dress like that, she smells like she shops at the second-hand market, kind of whispers. The ones that weren't meant to be heard, but always were. Ariba tried to ignore them. She would keep her head down, move quickly, avoid eye contact. It was clear she was used to this kind of attention, or the wrong kind of it. But what they didn't know, what I didn't know at the time, was that every whisper was a needle, and even the quietest ones leave scars. By the end of the first week, it escalated. It always does. The queen bee, Mahira, and her buzzing little followers, Anaya and Zoha, had found their new target. Mahira wasn't just popular. She was venomous. Her smile could slice through steel, and her words were bullets dipped in poison. She thrived on control, on dominance, and most of all, on making others feel small so she could feel big. And Ariba was the perfect prey. They started, accidentally, bumping into her in the hallway. Spilling juice on her lunch. Snatching her notebook and pretending they thought it was theirs. During group assignments, no one wanted to partner with her, and when teachers forced them, the others just let her do all the work and made fun of her presentation afterward. There was one day during lunch, I'll never forget it. Ariba was sitting alone under the staircase, eating what looked like a homemade roti and sabzi. Mahira walked past and faked tripping, spilling an entire Coke onto Ariba's food. And then she laughed. So did everyone else, including me. Not because I thought it was funny. No, I laughed because it was easier than being the next target. Easier than standing out. Cowardice hides well in a crowd. But the worst was yet to come. 2 weeks later, the bullying turned digital. Anonymous Instagram stories started popping up. Pictures of Ariba in the cafeteria with captions like, "Lunch for the poor," and, "Did her clothes escape a charity box?" There were even memes with her face edited onto cartoons. I remember walking into school one morning and hearing a group of seniors chuckling at one. Someone had posted a screenshot of Ariba during a Zoom class where her mic had unmuted, and her mom's voice was heard scolding a sibling in the background. That moment, which should have been forgotten instantly, was turned into a joke that never ended. And yet, Ariba never cried in front of anyone. Not once. Her eyes remained hollow, but she never shed a tear. And that made her attackers even more cruel. Because bullies want a reaction. They crave it. And when they don't get it, they push harder. Mahira wasn't just cruel, she was obsessed. One day in class, Mahira sneakily placed a fake letter on Ariba's desk, a forged love letter from a secret admirer. It was crude, full of mocking compliments like, "Your greasy hair shines like motor oil," and, "Your laugh reminds me of goats in distress." Ariba read it slowly, blinked a few times, then folded it neatly and tucked it into her bag. I watched her closely that day. She didn't react, but something in her posture cracked. That night, I couldn't sleep. The next morning, Ariba wasn't in school. Not that day, not the next, nor the one after that. That's when the rumors started. She got suspended for slapping Mahira, one said. Her parents transferred her again, another claimed. She tried to hurt herself, someone whispered. That last one hit me like a brick. I didn't want to believe it. But when I checked her social media, I saw she had deactivated every account. Vanished. Like she had never existed. And the worst part, Mahira and her group laughed about it. Celebrated it, like they had achieved something. That night, I cried. Not because I missed Ariba. Not even because I felt guilty. But because I realized, I had become one of them. Not by action, but by silence. And silence is complicity. I remembered a quote I once read, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good people do nothing." That haunted me. I was done doing nothing. So I decided to find Ariba. To know the truth. To apologize if it wasn't too late. And maybe, just maybe, make things right. Because sometimes, the smallest act of courage can start a storm. And I was ready to face it. I spent 3 days searching. Not online, she had erased herself from every platform, but through whispers, old contacts, and one brave move, I messaged the number she had written once on a library sign-up sheet. I stared at my phone, heart pounding, thumb hovering. What would I even say? I settled on the truth. Hey, I'm not sure if this is Ariba, but if it is, I'm sorry. And I want to talk. I want to listen. I didn't expect a reply. But the next morning, I woke up to a single message, meet me at Hillview Park. 5 p.m. Come alone. My pulse exploded. I had no idea what I'd say in person. What if she hated me? What if she didn't even show up? But at 4:50 p.m. sharp, I was there, sitting on the cracked wooden bench near the fountain that no longer worked, clutching a water bottle and praying I wouldn't mess this up. And then, I saw her. Same oversized hoodie. Same quiet steps. But she looked different. Tired, yes, but stronger too. Like someone who had survived a storm and carried the raindrops with her. She sat down beside me in silence. For a minute, we didn't speak. Just stared at the empty park, listening to the wind. And then she whispered, "So, now you care." I looked down, ashamed. I should have cared then. I was a coward. I laughed when I should have spoken. I didn't know how to be brave. She glanced at me, her eyes hollow but honest. And what changed? I paused. You disappeared. And I realized I let evil win. Ariba leaned forward. Do you know why we moved here? Why I was so quiet? I shook my head. Her voice was soft. My dad passed last year. Heart attack. We had to leave our city because we couldn't afford the rent anymore. My mom is doing her best, but we're barely surviving. When I joined school, I knew I'd be different. I was ready for awkward stares. But what I got was war. She sniffled but didn't cry. Do you know what it feels like when you pray for the bell to ring so you can run home? When you eat in the washroom because laughter echoes louder than screams. My throat tightened. I'm so sorry, Ariba. I can't erase what I didn't do. But I want to fix what I can. She turned to me, eyes burning. Then stand. Don't whisper apologies. Roar them. Because silence is what made Mahira strong. I walked home that evening with a fire in my chest. I knew what I had to do. The next day, I walked into school earlier than usual and made a decision. I would not let this stay in the shadows anymore. I pulled out my phone and recorded a video. A raw, shaky one. No filters. No edits. Just me. Hi. My name is Samir. And I was a coward. This school has bullies, real ones. People like Mahira who humiliate others for fun. And I laughed with them. I watched Ariba, a quiet girl who lost her father, get torn apart every day. I said nothing. But not anymore. If you've ever been hurt by bullies, if you've ever cried alone, this is for you. You matter. And they won't win. I posted it on my Instagram story. And braced myself. Within minutes, replies started flooding in. Bro, respect. I saw what they did to her too. Finally someone said it. But then, came the backlash. Mahira commented, "Aw poor hero boy, need attention." Followed by a laughing emoji. Her fans mocked me. Memes started. But I didn't care. Because by lunchtime, something crazy happened. Other students, ones I barely even knew, started speaking out too. Sharing their own stories. One girl confessed that Mahira had body shamed her for months. Another posted about being mocked for her stutter. By the end of the day, #stand for Ariba was trending in our school's digital groups. But Mahira wasn't done. Not yet. The next morning, I walked into class and found something stuck to my locker. A huge poster, my face photoshopped onto a superhero with the title, Captain Cringe, Savior of the Losers. Everyone laughed. Except for Ariba, who stood right beside me. Calm. Strong. She ripped the poster down, tore it in half, and looked Mahira straight in the eyes. You've taken enough from me. But you won't take my silence anymore. The room fell silent. Mahira tried to laugh it off, but no one laughed with her. That was the moment. The shift. The power she had, the fear she thrived on, was gone. The next few days felt different. Teachers started noticing. The principal called a special assembly. They spoke about bullying, about digital harassment, about mental health. But words weren't enough. So I did one last thing. With Ariba's permission, I created a video, a montage of her story. Not the pain, but the strength. Her walking into school. Her drawing quietly in her notebook. Her helping a classmate. Her standing tall. We called it, The Girl Who Stayed Silent, until the silence was broken. We uploaded it to YouTube. Within days, it went viral. Thousands of views. Comments from strangers saying they related. Teachers from other schools asking to show it in class. Even a local news channel picked it up. In Mahira, her parents were called. She was suspended for a week. But the biggest punishment wasn't from the school. It was from her own followers, who finally saw her for what she really was. A bully with no power once her victim spoke. Ariba began to smile again. Not all the time, but more than before. She joined the art club. Started tutoring younger students. She still wore her hoodies, but now, people saw the girl inside them. In me, I learned that being a hero doesn't mean wearing a cape. It means standing when others sit. Speaking when others laugh. Choosing right, especially when it's hard. It had been a month since everything changed. Since the day Ariba stood up. Since the day I found my voice. And in those 4 short weeks, our school transformed. The whispers stopped. Students started opening up. The principal invited counselors to visit classrooms. There were kindness corners, where anyone could write anonymous notes of support. We were finally healing. But healing isn't always simple. It isn't always quiet. And sometimes, when the surface calms, the storm underneath still brews. Ariba was stronger now. You could see it in the way she walked, back straight, chin up. Not cocky, but confident. She even gave a short speech during an assembly on anti-bullying week. The auditorium had gone completely silent as she said, "They called me invisible. But now, I choose to be seen." That line got printed on the back of our school shirts. She became a symbol of quiet strength. Everyone respected her. But that didn't mean everyone had changed. Some wounds don't heal with time. Some fester. One afternoon, I noticed Ariba was absent again. A whole week passed, and she didn't return. At first, I thought maybe she had the flu, but something felt off. She hadn't replied to any messages. No online activity. Not even her closest friend, Ramin from the art club, knew where she was. Then, on a rainy Friday morning, we found out. The principal called a sudden assembly. Everyone shuffled into the hall, confused. We were expecting an announcement about exams or maybe a fire drill. But what we got stunned the entire room. Mr. Iqbal stood on stage, holding a paper in his hand, his voice shaking slightly as he spoke. "Students, it has come to our attention that a deeply disturbing video has been shared online, originating from outside the school, targeting one of our students, Ariba." The hall went still. The video is not only cruel, but illegal. We have launched a full investigation with the cybercrime unit. My heart dropped. "What video?" I whispered to Ramin beside me. She looked pale. I think I know. But I hoped it was fake. As it turned out, someone had uploaded an old clip. A deeply personal moment. Ariba at her previous school, being shoved in a hallway, breaking down in tears, while someone recorded from a corner, laughing. The video had resurfaced on TikTok. Captioned, "She cried then, she'll cry again, tears of joy #DramaQueen." It was spreading like wildfire. And the account that posted it. It was fake. No traceable profile picture. No name. But whoever did it knew what they were doing. They wanted to break her again. That evening, I visited Ariba's home. I didn't even knock at first, just stood outside the gate, frozen. Her younger brother saw me and called her. When she came out, she looked different. Not scared, not angry, just exhausted. I handed her a phone. "It's spreading. But I swear, I'll stop it. Whoever did this." She shook her head slowly. "I know who it was," she said quietly. "But I can't prove it." I clenched my fists. "Mahira." She paused. "No. Worse." I blinked. "Worse." She looked me in the eyes and whispered, "My cousin. From my last city. She was the one who filmed it. We lived together after my dad died. She hated me. Said I made her look bad. I never thought she'd post it." It felt like the ground shifted. "And now?" I asked. "She's threatening to post more. Screenshots. Messages. Twisting them to look like I was obsessed with someone. Like I was desperate. She wants me to disappear again. But this time," she paused, voice breaking, "I won't run." That moment, I saw something deeper than strength. I saw courage laced with pain. And I made a promise. We were going to expose everything. The right way. The next few days, I helped Ariba gather all the evidence, old texts, timestamps, screenshots. I even contacted a digital safety advocate through my cousin in university. They guided us step by step. And we posted the truth. Not just the proof of her innocence, but the truth behind her silence. Her childhood, her bullying, her losses, and her fight to rebuild. The video reached 100K views in 24 hours. Ariba didn't cry. Not even once. She spoke to the camera with quiet power. My name is Ariba. I have been bullied in classrooms, in hallways, and now, online. But I will not let lies define me. To the ones who tried to break me, thank you. You taught me how to survive. The outpour of support was massive. Students from other schools reached out. Adults who had faced cyberbullying shared their stories. Hashtags like #StandWithAriba and #BreakTheSilence started trending. And then, something unexpected happened. The cousin confessed. Under pressure, scared of the legal action, she messaged Ariba. She apologized. Sent a voice note. I was jealous. You were strong, even after losing everything. And I wasn't. Ariba forgave her. Not because she had to. But because holding on to hate felt heavier than letting go. From that day on, Ariba wasn't just a survivor. She became a speaker. A leader. She was invited to speak on youth mental health panels. She got a scholarship. She even painted a mural on our school wall, a broken mirror with flowers growing through the cracks. Under it, in gold paint, it read, "And me." I kept telling stories. Stories like hers. Stories like yours. Because I learned one thing. When one person stands, others find the strength to rise.